Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Seth, clinical psychologist, Dr. Seth Meyers, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships because relationships are one of the most important part of a lot of people's lives. And specifically, I'm going to talk today about dating relationships. So this isn't long-term relationships once you've known someone for many years. No, this is really the early phase of dating. Let's say the first year or so when two people are getting to know each other, starting to figure out how the other operates, what makes them tick. They're really often trying to figure out their own feelings and whether this is the right person for them. Well, sometimes early in a dating relationship, things start going south. Or what's worse, things can be really kind of chaotic in some unhealthier dating relationships. And one of the things that I have found in many years as a psychologist is that unhealthy dating relationships have one impact in a particular area of life that really, really, really matters, and that's the body. Physical effects on the body. So, if you take a relationship and that relationship is chaotic or inconsistent, has a lot of ups and downs, a lot of, fears, maybe we're breaking up or fights and arguments, but then really sweet, amazing reunions and getting back together, those highs and lows, the peaks and the valleys, the up and the down, really kind of a roller coaster. Well, people who are in these early dating relationships, you know what part they love? They love the peaks. They love the moments where they feel connected and they get back together and they feel like, oh my God, I have found my person. And I was in such pain and I was so stressed out and anxious. I didn't trust you and all these different things. But now in this moment, everything's better. Nobody, of course, in a relationship really truly loves the valleys, the low points, the parts where people feel insecurity or overwhelmed by jealousy or just feeling completely out of sorts and anxious, scared even sometimes about the future of the relationship. Well, chaotic, unhealthy early dating relationships take a toll on the body, no doubt. Okay. Full stop. They take a toll on the body. And how do they do that? What are some different ways that a really stressful, insecure dating relationship can affect you if this is you and this is your dating relationship? Well, it can screw up your sleep. Maybe you toss and you turn and you have a harder time getting to sleep because maybe when you're laying in bed, you're replaying things that are happening, or you're not sure what the other person is doing right now, or you're thinking back to things they said or did, and you're kind of stewing about it and you can't stop thinking about it, almost a little bit obsessing. Well, that can really affect your sleep. In fact, some people in really stressful dating relationships also report having really bad dreams where they're being betrayed or other bad things are happening. They may even have nightmares. So sleep can be affected. Another area is eating. One of the things that happens when you go to the doctor and they do a checkup, they always ask you about your eating. Why? Because your appetite and your eating behavior shows a lot about how internally balanced one's body is. And so, guess what happens in a dating relationship that's really stressful? It often screws up a person's eating. It changes their eating behavior. So, what happens is people, a lot of times, they either start overeating, so they're eating emotionally. They just can't stop eating, and often really unhealthy foods. They turn to food and overeating as a source of self soothing. Or what happens for another whole set of people is the opposite. They are under eating. They don't want to eat. They feel nervous and anxious, and their body just feels off internally, and they just don't feel comfortable putting anything in their body. In fact, a lot of times people feel like when they're really stressed and insecure about a relationship, like they can't eat. Eating behavior is really, really important for overall balance. And yet, it's one of the things that can get screwed up the most because of a really toxic dating relationship. And the third factor that I want to talk about that often is a factor when someone finds themselves in a really chaotic or unhealthy early dating relationship: substance use, drugs or alcohol. They start turning to drugs or alcohol more to self medicate. And this can get confusing, especially when it comes to cannabis or weed or marijuana, whatever you call it, because in so many states now it's recreational and it's legal. So a lot of people can believe that, well, their state governments are sending the message that it's okay, that There's nothing wrong with it. Well, the truth is that alcohol is legal. It too can be extremely unhealthy and even deadly for some people if abused. So, a lot of people, when they start feeling that stress, those uncomfortable feelings about an early dating relationship, they feel insecure, they feel overwhelmed, they may feel paranoid, they may question the future. Is this really the person that I'm supposed to be with? They may feel locked into the relationship and may be afraid to end the relationship for fear of hurting the other person. Well, a lot of times people in these situations make the really negative decision to try to self medicate those feelings with drugs or alcohol. And this can be very, very unhealthy and can lead to all sorts of negative consequences. So people need to be careful. All right, stepping back, big picture, ask yourself if you feel like you are in an early dating relationship and as a pattern, you are feeling it in your body. You are feeling negative effects from the chaos, from this toxic insecurity in this relationship. You're feeling those effects in your body. Really check yourself. Really be honest with yourself that this relationship can be taking a toll on your body, on your physical health, on your mental health. Talk to some friends about it. Talk to a mental health professional if that's an option for you. There's always support. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is a quote. And this quote I share with people all the time about relationships as a gentle reminder. Relationships are supposed to be a source of comfort and security, not stress and chaos. So think again about the purpose of relationships if you're dating someone that is bringing a lot of stress and chaos into your life. All right. I hope this video has been helpful. You can also check out my whole library of videos here on my YouTube channel. You can also check out my podcast where we go deep on these issues. Insight with Dr. Seth, same title as my YouTube channel. And then finally, if you want, follow me on Instagram. I'm always posting cool things on there. Insight with Dr. Seth podcast. I wish you well, everybody.